So the big question is this: how do most agents who struggle to get the information that most successful agents hoard to themselves grow and prosper without this information? That's the big question, and this video cast is the answer. Welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. I'm your host, Pat Hyben. And now, for the review of the day. All right, I got a 5-star review here, and she wanted to specifically let me know that this was about the state of the market, which is cool because I think this is the first one we've gotten about specifically the state of the market. And I'm always curious, right? Because it's fairly new. You know, we've done less than 20 episodes of it. So, all right, this is Philadelphia Realtor, 5 stars, state of the market's what they called it. Thank you for everything, Pat. I use this content weekly to help my agents grow. It helps me help them stay fresh and in the know. Please keep it coming. The state of the market is great when it comes to recruiting because it helps brokers stay informed in more than just the sales side, but actually the industry changes as well. Hey, Philadelphia Realtor, thank you. This has been a really good review. I appreciate it. I've been wondering, are people liking the state of the market? Thank you. I see the downloads, so I assume they're liking it because people are listening to it, but it's our first review. Keep the comments coming, guys. I love them. And remember, I eat feedback for breakfast, so give me a 1-star review if you want, or a 5-star review if you want. I don't care. And the more reviews we get, the better guests we get. So please, subscribe first, and then leave us a review or wherever you're listening.
All right, Rockstar Nation, we've got a fantastic guest from Portland, Oregon, Mr. Winston Murray. I got that right?
Yep.
Awesome. And Winston is with Think Realty. Winston, you've been in business for about 8 years. You're 30 years old. So let's jump right into this thing. How'd you get into real estate? Or why?
Yeah, good question. I guess I kind of fell into it. I did everything from dishwashing to, line prep, cook, busing, landscaping, construction work, to event management. And then I had an opportunity to be an assistant to a pretty high producing real estate agent about 8 years ago. And I just took the opportunity and learned as much as I could. She ended up firing me because I was her transaction coordinator, and I'm not sure I'm any better at transaction coordinating today than I was then.
Right.
After that, I joined a team at Keller Williams as a showing agent, and then quickly worked my way to a buyer's agent. Got about 70 deals under my belt within the first 2 years.
Wow.
And then decided I wanted to be on my own after that. Joined a smaller brokerage here in Portland called Think Real Estate. It's kind of a more boutique brokerage. There's only about 35 agents that operate out of that office. And, I was like, I'm not crazy about the team model. I'm just going to do my own thing. If I could sell 24 houses a year, I'd be totally happy. And then I sold 36. And then I realized I needed an assistant.
Yeah.
And then things just kind of snowballed from there.
Love that. And then so you've been on your own for about 6 years? Is that right?
I've been on my own for about 3.5, 4 years.
3.5. Okay. Got it. And so down to the basics here, or the important stuff, how many houses did you sell in the last 12 months?
About 85.
85. Awesome. And then volume-wise, what's that look like? What's your price point out there?
Yeah. So last year we sold 70 houses with an average sales price of $370,000.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So last year we did almost 30 million in total volume.
Nice. And then gross commission GCI, what's that look like for you?
We had, what was it? We had gross commission in 2018 was 640.
640. And then profit margin on that?
40%.
40%. That's really good.
40%.
Nice. So how is your team structured right now? It's you, admin. How many agents do you have?
Yeah, so I have one full-time transaction coordinator working from home. She is local here. And then I have one operations manager who's kind of the glue for everything. And then I have one buyer's agent. I am looking to continue to grow my team. In October of last year, in 2018, we had brought on two buyer's agents, and one of them is still with me. Nice. And I learned a lot about the hiring process in that time. And I'm finding more clarity on what direction we want to grow the team. There's so many different ways to do it. There's not a bulletproof formula, and I think a lot of it is trial and error. And unfortunately, it costs money to do that. But we've learned a lot over the last 6 months, and I'm really excited in the direction that our team is headed now.
So for any agent that's listening who is sort of in your position, successful and looking to scale up, build a team, do more volume, what did you learn? Can you tell us what you learned from, let's just say, some of the challenges you faced and some of the mistakes you made?
Yeah. I didn't vet the agents as much as I would have liked to. Now looking back, I really like the DISC personality test, the Tony Robbins, DISC personality test for agents. I think it's a really good indicator of the type of personality you really want to see in a good agent. People person, someone who's extroverted, someone who can be a chameleon when they need to, and also beyond. So that initially for the test, but then just to really spend time uploading from the beginning before you bring someone on to make sure it's a good fit with the people you already have on your team, right, and their intentions are in alignment with our team model and level of service, really.
But what did you do, like, after learning that, what did you put in place to make sure that the next person you go to hire, you'll have a lot better result from your side? Obviously, the person you hire can also just take a nosedive, but what did you put in place now?
Well, I think I'm pretty clear that I want to hire people who have at least a year or two of experience, just so they're not coming off of it totally green. I'm strapped for time right now, so I really don't have a lot of bandwidth to be teaching people how to open lock boxes and write offers. Ideally, I'm looking for people who are maybe a year or two in the industry, don't really have the lead generation support system down, and are motivated to close a lot of deals.
That's fair enough. Yeah, totally. Now, what's your goal? Like, where do you see yourself taking the team?
So this year, with the buyer's agent on the team, myself, the transaction coordinator, and the operations manager, we're hoping to break 100 transactions.
100. Okay. Awesome.
And hit closer to 40, 45 million total.
Got it. And then your average price point, you said, is about 350, 360?
370 was our average last year.
Okay. That's pretty good. Is that the average for Portland, or is that pretty high?
Medium for Portland is about 415.
Okay. All right. That's a good price point. And then as far as, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, I just, I'm definitely, have a vision on where I want to grow the team. And, I think just in the last 6 months, the guy I hired who's still with me, the buyer's agent on my team now, he's on a 60-40 split up until his first 12 months being in real estate, just because he was totally green getting into it. But then he's going to transition into a 50-50 split, and then I'm going to allow him to do buying and selling.
Got it. Now, speaking of that, what's your percentage buyers to listings? Like, how many buyers you have?
Yeah, what was that? We had, I think it was about, we're probably 35% sellers, okay, and 65 buyers.
Got it. Is that where you want to be?
I would like to get our listing side up a little bit more. I think, I would prefer to be at a, like a 50-50 or 40-60.
Got it.
This year is evening out a little bit more.
Okay. And then as far as your like the buy side goes, what's your number one source for those buyer leads?
Say that again.
What's your number one source for your buyer leads?
Referrals. And I think that's why our profit margin is 40%. It's referrals. You know, I mean, we're spending a lot of energy at client retention and just doing a good job. I think where a lot of teams go wrong is they're so caught up on creating a new contact and just finding the hottest buyer out there and getting them in contract, and they miss the opportunity on the back end after the sale has closed. I think that's what really makes our team unique, and that, you know, I started out with, you know, training in Buffini and relationship-based business and referrals. So we're doing pop buys, you know what I mean? We're you know, beyond pop buys, we're doing a good job within the process, you know, so that when they get keys, they have a good feeling about us, you know, and that leaves the door open for us to continue communication after the fact and encourage, you know, client retention and client referrals.
What else are you doing for client retention?
So we do, you know, we do annual parties. We do, you know, pop-by gifts quarterly. We're doing, you know, monthly newsletters. We're doing direct mail. You know, this, you know, around this time of year, we're sending out a spring farmers market calendar for local farmers markets in the area, and then we're partnering with a local nursery to send them, like, you know, seeds and stuff like that. So it's somewhat relevant to the season. It's localized, and it's personal enough to where, you know, they're not just totally throwing it in the trash.
Yeah, for sure. And then how many referrals do you get? So let's say last year you did what, 90 or 85 transactions?
Right now, in the last 12 months, we've done 85. Last year, year to date in 2018, we did 70.
Got it. Okay. How many of those clients are actually referring you?
That's a good question. Probably, I mean, we probably get about 4 or 5 closings from referrals a month.
That's big. That's huge. Wow, I love that. And then as far as the listing side, how are you getting those leads? Same thing?
Same thing. You know, I'd say second to referrals, it's Zillow.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
You pay for
we
Zillow?
are a team, yeah. And we are a team that is expanding. And, you know, for me being only 30 years old, I only know so many people. I am local. I grew up here. I have a big network to start, which has worked in my favor for sure. But, you know, going back to the referral model, anyone we kind of, you know, we're using Zillow to scale. I mean, we're using Zillow to scale, meet new clients, meet those hot new buyers. But in doing it, we're not bailing on them and forgetting about them. They're getting treated the way we would treat our neighbors or our best friend or our family member. Okay. And that allows us to not only grow our past sales, but grow our database and grow our referral network. So, you know, we're scaling with Zillow, and we're treating them the same as anyone else. And we're doing a good job keeping in contact with them on the back end.
So what are you doing on Zillow? You're spending monthly to be a premier agent?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your spend look like, if you can discuss that?
$5,000.
$5,000 a month?
Yeah,
okay.
but half that can be covered by a lender. So we have a couple lender partners covering half that.
Got it. Okay. That's cool. And then what are you seeing from that? So like if there was an agent right now that's listening to this and said, man, I want to take action today. So regarding your number one source, which is referrals, obviously, if they don't have past clients, they're not going to get referrals right away. There are ways to do that. But like regarding Zillow, what would you tell someone to do right now who wants to take action?
I mean, you know, what I did when I broke from the team, because, you know, at that time I was like, if I could close 24 deals, be on my own, start fresh, join a new brokerage. I was a new agent when I started at least on my new to running a business solely by myself. I went all in on, you know, maybe I had 100 people in my database, and I said, okay, these are my 100 people. Right. You know what I mean? But the first thing I did, I think I only had, you know, maybe $5,000 to play with, is go all in on Zillow. You know, I think where Zillow makes a lot of their money is they get a lot of people who sign up, and there may be a few $100 a month here and there, but you're really not getting traction at that level. You need to go all in, and that's why having a lender to offset, you know, half of those costs is critical. But by doing so, I was able to scale pretty quickly and build new relationships. And as long as I treated those people just the same and did a really good job throughout the process, then, you know, it was a slam dunk.
What's up, brokers, team leaders, office managers, and rainmakers of teams? I got a question for you today. What are the two most frustrating things about running a real estate team? The two things that cause you more headaches than anything else. Think about it. The brokers I've talked to have all given me the same answer: recruiting and retention. If you're in the same boat, if nothing you've tried seems to work, I've got some good news. Your problem finding, recruiting, and retaining high-quality agents are about to be over. I'm launching my new Retoot course, a course that provides an in-depth, first-ever look at the recruiting and retention secrets of the industry's top recruiters. To kick off Retoot's launch, I'm offering the course along with 2 other high-value items at a super low price to podcast listeners. Since I'm throwing in 2 free items with my Retoot Secrets course, I'm going to simply call it my 1-2-3 discount package. Okay, so let me talk to you about the 1-2-3 discount package. In addition to Retoot, you're going to get a subscription for each of your teammates or anybody in your office to my Big Profit Weekly Jackpot emails, which are basically agents from around the world giving advice on how to increase your profit on a daily basis in this business. If your agents put these effective, easy to implement tips to use, their sales and most importantly, their profits will improve. Plus, I'll provide you with a year's worth of monthly sales meetings, content to have at your sales meeting, so you don't have to struggle figuring out what to say to your agents or your team. I'm calling it my Lunch and Learn Sales Training Series. That's an entire year's worth of sales meetings that you won't have to plan and that your agents are guaranteed to get massive value from. So to recap, purchasing the 1-2-3 discount package gets you 1, my brand new Retoot course, 2, my Big Profit Agents weekly jackpot emails for everybody in your office, and 3, a year's worth of Lunch and Learn training sessions. If you want this limited time package, act fast and go to hibandigital.com/123. Real easy, hibandigital.com/123.
So tell me about your system with Zillow. So how do you process leads? How do you stay on top of those leads? Not everybody's buying right away. So how do you nurture those leads to make sure that they're going to go with you?
Yeah. You need to follow up with them quickly. I would say that, you know, I think agents get really distracted with, again, chasing down the next lead, but ultimately it's not about the agent, it's about the consumer. Right. And we always have to come back to that. It's about the consumer. It's not about me. It's not about my team. It's about how can we provide the best level of service to the consumer. And I know that if we get them on the phone or we meet them in person, we're going to do a pretty damn good job compared to the competition. So, you know, whenever I'm reaching out to these leads, it's coming from a place of service. How can I help you? Because I know I can. You know, I don't need their business. I want to help them. And right. That's the mentality I've had since day one. It's not something where I'm really, you know, scratching to get another lead. Like, I'm here to help. And if they want my help as a professional who's been doing it for 8+ years, like I'm here to help them. So obviously we want to get them on the phone. We want to call them as soon as possible to be the first one in the door, because they don't care really how much experience I have up front. They just want to get, the door open and they want to see the house. And at that point, then you can start to educate them on the process. It's amazing to me how many consumers really aren't educated on the process, and they're so quick to just go see homes without having any clue of how it works, how my agent commission splits work. And so a lot of times when I get them on the phone, it's about education. We're leading from a place of service and helping them, but we're also leading with education, because I'll be straight up and be like, hey, look, I'm not the listing agent on that property. You called me because I advertise in that area, because I live there and I specialize in that area. And it kind of takes the weight out of the whole conversation. And I'm being transparent with, how we met.
I like that.
So we were doing it. Zillow has a split line where you can add your agents, and then we were doing it to where a Zillow call would come in, and then first one to get the call gets it. It's kind of a jump ball system, because if I'm in an appointment, I want to make sure my buyer's agents have an opportunity to jump on it as well. Right. Other than Zillow, we're doing experimenting with a couple other online lead generation sources, and I found that me picking up the phone call or trying to step out to pick up a phone call was taken away from the level of service that I do want to be providing. So we've hired agent assistants. It's a third-party ISA company who syndicates with our database. So as soon as we get a lead from Zillow or any other third-party lead source online, they get called within, I think it's a minute or something like that, and then they have a follow-up system beyond that. So they're screening leads. If it's a renter or something like that, it's not the best use of my time. I would way rather be spending time with people I know who are serious and committed to working with us and need my attention at that moment. So that has saved us a ton of time, and it allows us to be more present with the clients we do already have. And then they send us a text and say, hey, this is a buyer, and they're looking at 123 Main Street, and they want you to call them at 2:00. And then we'll call them right away, and then we'll say, hey, we'll call you at 2:00, and just to make sure we're getting our foot in the door. If they're super motivated, we're jumping on it right away.
So what's that company name again?
Agent Assistant.
Agent Assistant. Now, let's talk about that for a second. So do you think, in terms of time, where do you think the market is going? So the SOI, the database, how do you feel about that in the future of real estate? And then regarding, a Zillow or a Boomtown or something like that, like a lead generation platform, like what are your thoughts on how to scale? Because you can only scale so much with an SOI business. You feel that way?
Yeah. I would like to think we're doing both, because I see the value in doing high production. I think the market and the industry as a whole is consolidating, and there's a lot of opportunity online. That's that's where I go if I'm in a new city and I'm looking for a restaurant. That's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to go to Facebook. I'm going to go to Instagram. That is becoming more human than I think previous solely relationship focused business thinks it is. And I see the benefit of both. And I think that our team is really a good match between both, and a hybrid between relationship based business and high volume internet lead business. Unfortunately, right now I see a split and a divide. I think you're right. And a lot of referral based business caps out at about 50 transactions a year. You can only handle so much. Whereas with the team, if I'm allowing and training and making sure that agents are doing the level of service, that I value and I want to be providing to our clients, I think we can scale by doing, online lead generation sources and platforms like Zillow, to plug them into our database and go from there and create relationships. Some of my best, referral based clients I met off Zillow. The source was Zillow, and those are very human relationships. Whereas I think a lot of, strictly relationship based realtors, all online leads are bad. There's good and bad clients everywhere, and people who want your help and who want to listen to you and respect you or not. And some of the best clients I have, I've met offline. And,
Like that.
I go to the house for dinner. I mean, these are long-term relationships,
I mean, it's really about the human connection at a certain point, no matter how they're introduced, referral, Zillow, Boomtown, like whatever the source is, it's about how you intercept. Now, do you use a specific script, or are you just talking to these people from a place of service?
I just talk to them, man. My first line is, how can I help you? You know what I mean? That's it.
Sure.
And then I start the conversation from there. And if I feel like I can help them, I will. If not, I'll tell them. But in terms of how we're tracking these leads, because we are dealing with high, pretty high volume, leads that come in, and we need to be able to sort and follow up and build those relationships and create that human side of the business that we've so far thrived in. So doing that as we're scaling, when more leads are coming in, is a challenge. I think as any team grows, you're going to continuously have to revamp your systems to maintain quality and care of service. So we right now our CRM is Follow Up Boss, and we also contract with a company called Ylopo, and they are a social media retargeting marketing company. So our database currently syndicates with Facebook, and it syndicates with Zillow and all of our other online lead sources. So as soon as a lead comes in, they're automatically in our database, as long as the email is going to our email. It goes into our database, and then Agent Assistant is following up with them right away. And then those people are being retargeted to automatically on Facebook. And then that allows us a platform to continue communication. And, we have set reminders to call people. And it's not in a way like, I don't want to call people who don't want to work with me. The mentality always is, how can I help this person? Hey, I had you in my calendar to follow up with. How are you doing? Are you still looking for a home? Are you thinking about selling? I'm happy to help. If not, I'm not gonna, drive them crazy. There's plenty of other business out there.
So how many leads a month do you get?
Oh, what is it? How many leads a month are we getting? We're probably getting, I think our leads to sales was, I think we had there's like 17 leads to sales or something like that. 15 to 17 leads to sales. What's that?
That's really good.
Yeah. And part of that is, because a lot of it's coming from referrals. These are people, those are the best leads. I don't have to try to build trust really quick, because their name was passed down by a trusted friend already, and then on Zillow, obviously it's a higher cost per lead, and those are typically, I would say in terms of online lead generation, Zillow is at the top in terms of cost per lead and quality. So, we've had a lot of success with Zillow leads as well.
All right, so let's take it back for a second. On your CRM, on Follow Up Boss, do you have a sequence of follow-up emails, drip campaigns, things like that, and then it's setting automatic reminders for you to actually pick up the phone and call or text? Or do you just let the system do its thing, and then anything that's warm, you'll pick up the phone, but anything that ISAs couldn't get a hold of, or somebody that says they're not interested, you guys aren't wasting time?
We're not wasting too much time on it. I think that, if we've had a conversation with them and we could tell that, they're motivated to buy, we usually are able to categorize that buyer as a buyer 1, buyer 2, or buyer 3. Buyer 1 being someone who's willing to buy, or shows interest in buying over the course of the next 1 to 3 months. A buyer 2 would be categorized as someone who's, probably 3 to 6 months out. And then a buyer 3 is 6 months to a year out. And then, based on our communication, our conversations with them, we'll categorize them in each one of those 3 categories. And then there's a follow-up system in that. So we'll say, okay, this person's a buyer 1. We're going to put them on a buyer 1 action plan, and that will allow us to, check our task list daily and weekly, and then we'll get a reminder in, a couple weeks to call that buyer one, reach out. Hey, how can I help? I had you in my calendar to follow up with. I know you're interested in purchasing. Are you wanting to learn more about the process, or are you wanting to get in to see a house? It also has a built-in website. So, it's, they're set up on a search through our website that's directly connected to the local MLS here. And so I can see if they're looking at, X amount of homes in a week, that's someone I should call. Hey, you've viewed this one home 8 times in the last 24 hours. Is this something you want to go check out?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so it's good for online leads, but it's also the same system we use for referrals. Every referral isn't a buyer one. Those are people who, might want to buy or sell within the next year or two. And those aren't people we're going to forget about. Those are people we're going to call over the course of the next, 3 to 6 months, and make sure we're staying in front of them. I think over everything, we do a good job staying in front of people in print marketing, on social media, on email, through our monthly newsletter, over the phone or text. I mean, we're casting a pretty wide net.
Yeah.
And I feel good about it because I know that we're going to do a good job throughout the process. This isn't a burn and turn model. This is hey, this business only works if we're doing a really good job by the client. If we're in full communication the whole time, we're updating them on every step, and we have good contractors and vendors that are going to expedite the inspection process. They're going to come out of it. Most of the time, we're going to get a 5-star review, and they're going to be stoked to pass our name along.
No, that's perfect.
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you can think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox, and it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now. Hey, real estate agents and rock stars. If you're getting value out of the content in this episode, make sure you like the video and subscribe to this channel. Also, click the little bell icon to be notified about upcoming episodes. And I would also love it if you left a comment and shared the most impactful tips and tactics you've learned from the knowledge shared in this episode, or even maybe make a suggestion requesting a topic of what you'd like to learn in future episodes. I welcome any feedback below. Now, back to the episode.
And phone apps. Are you using any phone apps right now? I mean, Premier Agent phone app, things like that, but anything special, anything specific?
No, man, I like keeping it really simple. I think Facebook and Instagram are great. It provides, a level of, it provides a personal touch. And I think Facebook, Instagram have been talked about plenty of times before, but it makes it real for people. So many of us are on our Instagram scrolling our feed, and if they see us in the office working, they see the behind the scenes, and it takes the mystery out of it. This isn't just a sales push. This is me living and breathing real estate. This is me playing with my dogs in the park when I have a free second. This is me talking to clients. This is me showing houses. And I think it's priceless. You know, I like keeping things really simple. That's why we have a 1, 2, 3. That's why we're at a 50-50 split with our agents. That's why, you know, I believe in just doing a good job above all, and getting referrals is the best way to run a business.
Yeah, love that. So tell me about a failure you've had in the last, let's just say 3 years while you've been building a team, a total failure that today you see as a success.
Yeah. Hiring. You know, I think I jumped the gun on hiring without doing due diligence ahead of time. You know, I hired someone who was, you know, an old friend of mine and someone I really like, I still really like, but they just weren't the right personality for the job. And, you know, I didn't have them do any kind of personality test until 3 months into the job. And after looking at it, it was really clear. And that's something I could have done, you know, 6 months prior, right, and saved probably 50 grand.
Yeah, man, those mistakes are costly. They're like, did you go to college?
No, you know, I graduated high school. I did, you know, a little bit of college, community college, and then I got into real estate. I fell into real estate.
No, good for you, man. That's awesome. At least so now all that money that you're spending that's just a college education on your like actual application in your business. So it's direct link. I love that.
Yeah. Like before I got, you know, I said I was a dishwasher, line cook, and all those things. You know, I actually ended up starting a local nonprofit before I got into real estate. So I did a little bit of event management, and I skipped over the part where I actually was a founder of a local nonprofit here in Portland. And that was my 4-year college education. That was a grassroots organization effort that now, you know, employs 10 people, and we raise about 350,000+ in grant money through Multnomah County here in Portland every year, and it's servicing hundreds of people a week. And that was my 4-year college education.
So besides hiring, if you could talk to yourself as a rookie agent right now and give yourself some advice besides hiring, what would it be?
I would say that, you know, the industry is changing, and in order to thrive in this industry right now, I think over the next 4 years, the industry is going to consolidate quite a bit. Build an online profile and do a good job and ask for the referral.
Yeah, love that. Absolutely love that. Now, what's one of the biggest sources of pain in your business right now?
Biggest sources of pain. I would say just, you know, I mentioned previously that, you know, as your team is growing, you're consistently having to revamp and recreate your systems. Yeah. And that's the biggest pain because, you know, I'm not the best at everything. I'm really good with people, you know, and that's where I should be. And for me, you know, the older I get, the more clarity I have on what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. And, you know, I now have a support team of people helping do the things I'm really not good at. But it still requires my attention as we're growing. They want to see the direction. They want to know what to do. And it takes me to block out time and create those, you know, those opportunities for us to brainstorm and talk about the direction of the team and talk about what systems we're going to need to implement or revamp to handle this next wave of business and handle the growth that we're seeing right now. So time blocking, I would say, and, you know, systems is, you know, the hardest part of the job and will continue to be as long as we continue to grow.
Got it. What books are you reading right now?
What books am I reading right now? What am I reading? What did I read? Just read something I really liked. I can't even remember it. I'm listening to Jim Rohn. I'm listening to all sorts of different kind of motivational, inspirational, you know, self-help kind of books that, and also practicing some meditation. If I was to mention one other app, it would be Headspace, because I think us as realtors need that. We need that motivation. And, you know, it's really easy to get beat down in this industry and be hard on ourselves. And I think a lot of people getting into the industry have really high hopes. And then you see like almost a 90%, you know, turnover rate within the first 12 months. And it's really important to be feeding ourselves with positive affirmations and being able to push through those hard times. And, you know, when I first started, that looked a little different than it is now, because I'm carrying a much larger burden now and a much larger operating expense. And if we're not hitting these numbers, you know, this is going to happen. I think that stress will eat people alive. So a lot of the content that I'm feeding myself whenever I have time to read a book is geared towards self-help, kind of inspirational, motivational, meditation, content that will help me, and not in an ego way, but in a, hey, I love myself, I can do this, and I will push through this. And I think it's a really fine line, because this industry will eat you up and spit you out if you're not staying on top of it, or turn you into someone who is a total maniac, egomaniac on the other end. You know, so trying to stay humble while growing and trying to stay motivated in the tough times is critical when I have those rare moments of silence.
Yeah, I love that, man. So personal development, definitely key. What's something unique about you besides the relationship part? And I ask this question because a lot of agents out there, they think they have something unique, and then they find out that 50 people in their office have the same sort of thing. But there's always something that's really unique about each person that they take into the business, and that's why they're either successful or they're not, because they either exploit that or they don't. So what would you say is one thing that's really unique about you that people just can't duplicate?
I would say my drive.
Okay.
I'm super driven, you know, for my age, and I've been, you know, knocked down quite a bit. But I don't ever give up, and, you know, I will never stop growing. And I think that has shown I've been able to scale and grow pretty quickly, at a manageable rate. You know, it's not to the point where we're, you know, totally falling apart, but, you know, we definitely know how to continue to push the limit, and I'm pretty resilient. You know, I think that's you know, and there's a lot of other people who are resilient as well, but, you know, I haven't really seen many teams producing at 100 plus transactions that are equally as focused on client retention and relationship building as volume.
I love that. That's a great point. That's definitely a great point. So I know we kind of touched on it a little earlier, but I want to get your take on what you think the future holds for real estate agents. So obviously you're a huge Zillow fan. Now they got the Zillow iBuyer thing. You got Amazon coming out with some stuff. You've got a lot of brokerages that are starting that more virtual model. What do you think where do you think the industry goes in 5 years from now?
I think that I think Zillow, you know, I mean, Keller's coming out with some things, but in terms of like the new wave of real estate, you know, Keller, Remax, almost kind of outdated in a lot of ways, I think. And, you know, and I like Keller and I like Remax, but I think, you know, Zillow and Redfin, you know, Amazon, those are going to be the big players in the next 5 years. The industry is consolidating, and by consolidation, I mean fees are going to lower. Yeah. And it's geared towards the consumer. So, you know, us as agents can't be mad at that, but we're going to have to shift. A lot of people can kick and scream, and I haven't been around long enough to really, you know, I would be pretty upset if I've been in real estate for 40 years and now this is happening and deals are getting taken away from me. But, you know, I also, you know, see the trends, and I see as a young person and as a millennial, I see where it's headed. Most of our clientele is that way, and they want more transparency. They do feel like fees are, you know, outrageous. And, you know, I've lost listing appointments because of it, because of fees. And, I'm open to those changes, but right now I feel like it is a race to capture as much market share as possible so that you're in a position to either compete or partner with one of those bigger companies that are ultimately going to come in and probably buy everything out. And maybe that's just the conspiracy theorist in me, but I do. I mean, that's supported by my business coach and by a lot of other people who are seeing those trends.
So, brand new agent coming into the business, young person in their, like, let's just say mid-20s. What's the number one thing they do right out of the gate?
Get experience.
Okay.
I think a lot of people come. I would join a team.
Yeah, I would
join a team. I would get experience. I would join a team. I mean, it's anyone can create a Facebook page and an online profile, but if you don't know how to actually have a conversation with the client, once you have that opportunity, it doesn't make a difference. You need the experience. You need to do the dirty work. And I did the dirty work for, 4.5, 5 years.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. I mean, I almost wish someone, when I started in real estate about 6.5 years ago, I wish somebody would have told me, join a team, basically just to get more traction in the mud and learn through other people's mistakes, learn with other people's dollars, and supercharge that growth. I think that's a great piece of advice for anybody getting in, unless you're like the rare breed who gets in and just kills it right from the start. You're hitting everything on, and you're very quickly shifting out of the things that aren't working, which is rare.
Yeah.
So I love that.
I mean, I think I'm grateful for the team experience I had at Keller Williams. I got a lot of really good base training, and I had a lot of support, and I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it without.
Yeah. So where can people find you if they want to get a hold of you in Portland?
They can find us on our Instagram at PDX Works Team. They can find us on our website at pdxworksrealestate.com. That's got our number on there. You can reach us out anytime. On Facebook, we're PDX Works Real Estate.
PDX, Paul, David, telephone.
Yeah, PDX as an X-ray, Works, WORKS, realestate.com.
Awesome. Anything else you want to wrap up with, man? This has been a great interview.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram, PDX Works Team.
Love it. Now, you got a gift for the listeners. What is that gift? I hear it's pretty juicy.
Yeah, it's a 4-page, super detailed listing timeline for the back end. Everything from initial client contact, double checking Zillow, uploading the Zillow video, everything. It's 4 pages. It's super detailed. Feel free to edit it however you would like. And then we have something that we present to the sellers. So it's a nice little infographic of the listing timeline that's to be presented to the sellers. And then, of course, we have the 4-page back end for the ops team.
Love that, man. All right. Winston Murray from Portland, Oregon. This has been a really enjoyable experience, man. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Real Estate Rockstars. If this free content is giving you a ton of value, I want to ask a small favor in return. I need you to pull out your pointing finger and hit the subscribe button. Yes, hit subscribe, please. The more subscribers that we get on Real Estate Rockstars, the better guests are attracted to the shows. We'll get more guests from the top companies, from the top teams, and even more celebrity guests like Robert Kiyosaki and Barbara Corcoran. Also, if you're not a member of our free Facebook group, go to Real Estate Rockstars Radio right on Facebook and join the conversation. I'm on there myself on FaceTime Lives, and we have a lot of communications and questions about the show, and I'd love to see you there. And it's free. People ask me all the time, where am I on social media? I'm real easy to find. Just type in my name. My IG is I am Pat Hyben. It is blowing up on Instagram, adding tons of subscribers, and I'm on there probably twice a day. So definitely follow me on Instagram. as well as everywhere else. Thanks again for listening and keep rocking.